Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inter's Round 8. We are in the desert once again for the Qatar GP. Fantastic track, obviously. One of the recent additions to the calendar. Great racing, and I think the tyres also, with how well they degrade, provides plenty of racing. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a good one. It's got to here with you once again. It's been a little bit since my last Tier 2 comms, but thankfully very happy to be back. And not alone. It was Mercy meant to be hopping in with me, but feel like maybe cheekily we got someone just a little bit better. We got Lukey in here. Lukey, how are you? We're going to be in for a corker until I realise I can't get you on stream, which would be lovely. Lovely if I can get that right, shouldn't it? Oh, there we
We can
go.
start.
There we
I do like to
go.
be heard by the. There you go. I do like to be heard by the masses. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good race, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Tier 2 can provide. It's going to be sunny this evening. To no one's surprise, I'm sure in the chat we have sunny conditions this evening. The Doha weather is smiling down on us, although it would be quite funny, I think, to see a wet race, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, it's yelling that you pretty much need to be in perfect conditions for a bit of rain in the desert. But yeah, got to be sunshine. Obviously, had a cracker last night. I sort of caught bits and pieces of it. Late safety car, plenty of pens, and I think it was our new driver, if I'm not mistaken, E. Koski, that actually managed to pick up the win. I believe. I'm just going to quickly check those results now. It was so brand new driver. Up there in P1, A-Dog as well, great podium from him, and then obviously Tetris in the Williams, he kept it clean and managed to snag a podium as well. So, but obviously the takeaway from last night, penalties obviously a big cause that could affect these results. So obviously one factor the drivers will have to watch out for is to keep it within the white lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on there. It is very easy to pick up those dreaded warnings and then those time penalties here at Lusail. You want to try and push it as hard as you can. It's a very flat out track, and if you mess up an exit, it can really affect your lap. So drivers will be hitting that white line. They'll be going over the white line. A lot of penalties, and also fuel is a critical issue because this is such a high downforce track. Because the cars don't have time to really slow down, fuel can be a really big issue. So drivers will have to be careful they don't underfuel their cars this evening because it can really come back to bite you.
Yeah, and I'm thankful I did a 100% endurance race around here, sort of when the games nearly sort of first came out, so I knew straight away fuel was definitely an issue around here. So thankfully I didn't get caught out in my first couple of league races around here. But as we speak of the track details, there's your circuit information on your screen. 5.419 kilometres. I believe it's 28 laps cut in half from that 57. And as you can see, the lateral energy with all those tyres. It is it's a heavy tyre stress track, as you can see. Number 5 braking is not too bad. Again, you got a lot of windy, fast flowing corners. The lateral obviously very high up, as well as the downforce. Quite a lot of track evolution as well, so it will be a bit of a struggle, especially in the early parts of qualifying. But and obviously, as you can see, your compounds on your left-hand side of your screen, we are using the hardest set of the Pirelli tyres, the C1, the C2, and the C3. And you can get a one-stop done around here, but I know, not sure about you, Luke, but I was really struggling trying to get a one-stop done. The tyres just massively fall off, especially towards the end of your stint.
They really do, yeah. Well, the one stop is the optimal strategy, but that is purely because the pit lane here in Lusail is so long that you don't really make up the time on fresher tyres. But the tyres really do go off, which is very interesting. As you said, they are the hardest compounds available, and yet even the one stop can be tricky. So the drivers will have to be careful. The curbing here is very high, very dangerous, and using a lot of the curbs can really negatively affect your tyres. As well as this, another factor I think people need to take into account is the fact ERS is very hard to regain here under green flag conditions. Normally, ERS is very easy to regain. It's a heavy braking zone. You get it back. Here in Qatar, because we lack those heavy braking zones, drivers will be running out of ERS fairly quickly if they don't manage it properly. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be pushing early on with their ERS, who's going to conserve it, who's going to basically play the game around of ERS. And it can even be a factor in qualifying because if you aren't careful enough, sometimes the ERS can run out down that start-finish straight as you end your lap, which is really the time you want it. So drivers are going to be very careful with a lot of factors tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of this track is a lot of management that you have to do in both quality and the race, and clean air also a very strong part of it as well. If you can get out in front, start on pole on the front row and get out in front, you can make up a lot of time on this track. As we will have a look at our 20 driver lineup, we do have a full grid, unless we have a couple of late out, which is fantastic to see. As you can see, all your drivers on screen. The three reserves. T8, I believe, is in the Haas. We have the McLaren team fielded by VSC Batman as another reserve. And we did have another reserve that slipped in my mind as I quickly checked the check-in. We have Almighty God reserving for Mercedes as well. So uh, three handy reserves to have in each of those teams, but it's got to be a strong grid as we have a look at our championship standings as we've been given the green flag to go, so we'll chuck onto the game screen in a minute. Matty, currently up top 125 compared to Medi 108. Medi being the bigger mover. He's picked up 2 podiums in the last 2 rounds where Matty's only been able to manage a P6, so that lead that he built up early on starting to shrink a little bit within 17 points. That's within the 20-point range for a race win here at Inters, and Daniel Starr obviously not too far behind, so it's got to be a very, very strong, tough task for Matty to try and hold on. And obviously, Dark and Shadow, we must mention to him, obviously joined the last 2 rounds, a third in Jeddah and a P1 in Australia. So Dark and Shadow is going to be your spicy pick for probably another win here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great names on that list. Mathieu, you obviously as a championship leader. I would also keep an eye on Liquid Jake. I know Jake very well. We're teammates in another league, and he is a quick, consistent driver, very clean. So Liquid Jake, he's quite far behind at the moment, 60 points off the championship lead, but he will definitely be a factor. And for Matty and you and Medi, at this point, the championship, we've got 5 rounds left with that revised calendar, that shortened calendar. They have 5 more races to go after this one. You cannot afford a DNF. You can't even afford to be finishing outside the top 10 at this point. And if you have those drivers like Liquid Jake, like the other guy you mentioned, those people will be taking positions from you, and you may not have the pace for an absolute outright win, but for them, you just have to finish. Those consistent finishes is what's going to get them this championship.
Yeah, 100%. As we switch over to our constructors title now, Alpine only 7 points in front of Aston and only 2 points further ahead of Red Bull. So very, very tight between the top 3 in the constructors. McLaren currently in P4, 41 points down. They're not completely out of it, but obviously they'll need to work out. But as you can see, Alpine leading the championship, but haven't actually picked up a race wins. They've picked up a race win actually. So obviously they've been doing it via consistency with their 3 podiums. So we'll have to wait and see. Both drivers been able to at least race all week. So yeah, it should be fantastic to watch that battle. Having a quick look at the overall standings after round 7 at Australia, Aston Martin leads the overall by 37 over Red Bull. McLaren and Ferrari not too far behind in their little scrap for P3. And we got Williams and Haas rounding out our bottom 10. So I think it's time that we get a bit of quality action happening. So all 20, as you can see, as we'll get all the little data on. Who should we watch for our opening lap? I see now from Mayo. Who's we'll have a watch of the Battle Cat. So, Lukey, do you want to take us through this particular Qatar circuit?
I will absolutely love to, Mr. Scotty. Thank you very much. Yes, he comes into the final corner of the pit lane off to your right. They're very interesting pit lane entrance there. Obviously, very, I think, sort of last minute change. It's a different pit lane, obviously, now that it's a full-time track. But he crosses the start-finish line, the 1 DRS zone on this circuit. He will reaching the end of it now into turn 1. Going to try and hit the wide entrance. Yes, gets it into the cone, gets it turned in. Already back on the throttle. Very much a little bit of a rear engine training there, but very clean so far. Turn 2, very cautious. It's only a bank lap. He does not want to invalidate yet. Through turn 3, not even really a corner in these modern F1 cars. Now the double apex of turn 4 and 5 into 4. Gets it nice and done, keeps the wide entrance point through 5. very clean from Batcat. Through sector 1, it is a 27.2 for the first sector. Into now what is turn 6, the slowest corner on the track. And now he'll head up to turn 7, a long, long hairpin. And then you have the S section, which isn't much of an S, but it still counts nonetheless. Through 8, which again is not a corner, into 9, flat as per usual. Into turn 10, very fast corner. Now he's got the time for the quadruple apexes that will end the lap, so he'll be adjusting. He knows what he's done so far. He knows where he has to push. He knows how the lap has felt for him. Into now through each of these corners. Will he stay flat? No, that's a left through that one. He's going to go flat through this one. Again, another lift. So very careful there from Battlecat. Into now the penultimate corner. Keeping it nice and within track limit 6th gear. Now up to the final corner. Keeping it to the left as wide as you want to make it. You want to carry as much speed down this start finish straight. There we go, very nicely into 5th gear. He'll hit the DRS button now. DRS down the start finish straight. Has he got enough ERS to finish the lap? No, you see the deploy used at the bottom of the screen. It is a 22.4. Very close to Sam RR. A good lap from Battlecat, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, steady lap as Granny goes the first driver into the 21s, 21.8, so, and 6/10 quicker than Sam. But I have a feeling we'll have a few drivers that will try and get into the 21s as well. Matty, are you a championship leader? How's his time looking? That is a 22 flat currently on the front row, but a little bit too early to be saying that. I think we got one of the Alpines, might have been Buster behind. We know how quick Buster can be, but very hectic through the final corner. So we'll wait and see. Buster's already used his ERS just even before he got down after the exit of the final corner. Up into P2, Buster goes into the top 3. Whereas we've got Gob, I think, coming through to start or to finish another lap. Gob stays P8. Whereas I think we've got one of the Williams, Ethimon, starting their lap now. So got some times on the board and a couple of guys coming back into the pit. So probably, as you said before, just maybe just an invalidation. And as I said, very easy in a couple of corners, just trying to carry the maximum speed through.
Yeah, it is all about the high speed, and even a couple of miles an hour or kilometers an hour difference on exit. There can be such long points between corners that you have to maximize every apex, every exit. Traction isn't too bad. There's literally one slow speed corner on this circuit, which is the hairpin of turn 6. But apart from that, it is basically flat out. So drivers have to be very careful. The white lines, it's so easy, and also the sausage curbs on the inside of some of the corners. I doubt many drivers will be cutting the corner that much. They'll hit the sausage curbs, but they are also a present threat that they have to be aware of.
Yeah, as we watch Medi coming through the final corner now. As you can see, so low on the ERS usage, up in at 8% as Daniel Star goes 21.5. Medi can go at 21.8 into P3, so Daniel Star flying in the Alpine. And wait and see if anyone can top that, as we've got Ethimon coming through the start-finish line now. They go into 8th on a 22.3, just behind his teammate of Cali. So obviously we've got two newish Williams drivers. So obviously they're both here, and hopefully we can score some good points for Williams. As I think we've got the AlphaTauri of Swiss Lord about to start their first run. As we just try and find guys on the lap. Dark and Shadow, as I said, sort of one to watch out for. Is about to start their first run, so it'll be interesting to see what Darken can do.
Definitely will be. I'm just catching the end of eBay Boys lap here. Interesting, a lot of the drivers are lifting off around that sort of quadruple apex end to the lap. Some of them are lifting off quite severely, which possibly could be they're not doing the confidence yet, or they're running slightly lower downforce. All drivers will be running what is considered a high downforce setup. Some may slightly lower it just to make sure they get a good slingshot down this start finish rate. eBay Boy goes into 5th, into the 21s, so a good lap from him. But it isn't like, say, I don't know, Silverstone, where you can have quite a big variation between medium and low downforce. Everyone here will be running a high downforce setup. It's just those little wing adjustments that will try and maybe just eke out a bit more advantage on the straights.
Yeah, and as we saw Letter P go into the top 8 as well, just on a 22 flat as well. But yeah, you need downforce around here. You can sort of use the DRS and the slipstream to get a bit of straight line space as Jeneth, great quality pace as we know the Ferrari driver has up into the top 4 into the 21s now. As we've got a little bit of movement in the middle sector, as I think we've got McLaren Batman currently in P17 to start his lap. Dark and Shadow. So riding on board, managed to get a little. Yeah, you will get a little bit of a tow with DRS. What can our last race winner do? And he goes at 21 flat.
Jeez.
He's quick. We might need to have a conversation about if he wins this race. Potentially moving him up. He might have been put in the wrong tier with the pace he's going. So obviously didn't see him last couple of rounds, unfortunately. But he's been very, very quick and very impressive early on. So Dark and Shadow will take provisional pole at the moment. We've still got 8.5 minutes left to go in the session.
I did run a ball with Dark and Shadow, and he took the third to last corner. He took it flat. He was the first driver I've seen at least running on board with who's taken that corner flat. So Dark and Shadow with a lot of confidence already, obviously running very high downforce because that is a very difficult corner to take flat and keep valid. So Dark and Shadow, as you said, the conversation may need to be had. He's over half a second clear of Daniel Starr, and I thought Daniel Starr an excellent lap to do a 22.5, so 21.5, sorry. So yeah, a very quick driver, perhaps too quick for this tier, but that would be a conversation for another time, and obviously out of at least my jurisdiction going forward. Trying to see who's else on the lap. Granny is invalidated, so he will not be making any improvement. Anyone you can see on your end who's doing the lap?
Batman's just about to finish his lap. ERS, as you can see, he's used it all, but he goes to the top 5. Great lap from Batman as the reserve McLaren beating the full-time team and a eBay boy. Only by less than a tenth. You got 4 drivers in the 21.9, so it's very, very close from P3. I'd even say to P11. There's like 2 tenths covering that whole group, so very impressive. As Matty AU, we'll see what he can do. But Dark and Shadow has been a great pickup for Red Bull. Obviously, Damo unfortunately leaving his full-time seat, but it's been a great pickup for the Red Bull TB as Matty makes Red Bull 1 and 3 at the moment. But Matty AU, championship leader, but he's 7 tenths off his teammate. That's a big, big margin.
That's a massive margin, and even if we take Dark and Shadow out of the equation, if he was to be put up a tier, he's still just under 2 tenths off Daniel Starr, and obviously Daniel started his lap much earlier in the session. Track evolution will be a little bit of a factor here in Qatar, not massive amount, but it will certainly be a factor. So again, as I hearkened to at the start of the stream, for Matty, if he doesn't have the pace for an outright win, that's fine. He doesn't need to worry about that. He needs to worry about maximising the position he knows he can finish. So if he's got a pace for P3, he needs to make sure he's finishing P3, not P7 or P8. So not amazing for Matty at the moment, but I mean P3 is still a good position to start the race on, and I mean his championship rival is there and thereabouts, but it's definitely going to be interesting going forward.
Yeah, as we were saying, Santa only slightly up on their time, but as we come to the line, I'm worried about as Lantana does improve by about a tenth, so it remains in P16. So a little bit, hopefully Elaine can find a bit more time in their last sector. I was going to have a go on board with the Aston of Liquid Jake, as you said at the start, one to keep an eye on. So we'll see how Liquid Jake goes with 1 corner left to go. And as you see, a lot of drivers pretty much just using their ERS and getting the deployed used by pretty much 300 meters from the start finish line, which does hurt. But Liquid Jake does go into P3. Great lap from the Aston Martin driver.
Fantastic lap from Jake. Basically, you know, he's on 1 lap and he's immediately put himself into 3rd position. I mean, it's incredible. If you take the top 2 out of the equation, you've got P3 down to P10 covered by under 3 tenths. You know, you've got 4 drivers, 5 drivers in. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 drivers in the 21.9s. So yes, there are people that are clear, and there's people that obviously have a pace advantage. But even then, that mid pack is tight as can be.
Yeah, and it's an interesting turn 1 here. Obviously, it's not a massive run down into turn 1, but because turn 1 sort of is so wide, you can run a couple of cars wide all the way through to then the switchback for the left-hander at turn 2. It's just got to... Drivers just have to be a little bit careful, especially if you're in that mid-pack, just to keep it out of trouble. As we are on board with Cali. Plenty of ERS left, so they may have turned it off some way through the lap. So this might help them down this start-finish straight, managing to keep it within the white lines. So Kelly, DRS, uses the deployment and goes into the top 9, 21.9 as the letter P goes into the top 3 once again, 21.6. Great lap. So Daniel Starr holding that front row still. Letter P, Jake, Matty unable to usurp him from P2. As we've got Jenneth up by 0.3 of a second. That will put him in the 21.6 range and fighting for potentially that front row or that second row of the grid. As we come through the last sector now. So little lift from the left-hander as one corner left to go. Around in the final corner. Nice line through there, bit of DRS. Again, runs out of ERS before we hit the line, but can Jenner keep that 3/10 gap? He certainly can. He jumps up into the top 3 now, 21.5.
Fantastic lap, and there's definitely track evolution. He found those 3/10. As you said, I mean, he's impressive. He was up 3/10 through sector 1. He was down. He was only up by 1/10 through sector 2. So he lost 2/10 in the middle sector, but he found 2/10 in the third. So really, if that was the case for Jenneth, he could possibly have done a 21.3 if he kept those 2/10 in hand for the duration of the lap. But a very classic lap from the Ferrari driver. And look at that, we have 5 different teams in the top 5. So that's always what you like to see. So yeah, it's very competitive here, even if there are some outliers. I am just sitting on board with Sam coming around the final corner in the Haas. Obviously, as a fellow Haas driver, gonna hope you do well. We are bottom of the joint constructors, but they're doing relatively well here in Tier 2. Sam up front, gonna be a good improvement. It's a 22.2. It's a just under 2/10 improvement. Puts him 14th. Not amazing from him, but it is still not bad. And there is a very long race and possibly very hectic race still to come.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It wasn't a bad lap from Sam either. It's just sort of how tight it is. As I said, you're looking at like a 22 flat. You take Darkin out of it, 21.5. He's only 7/10 off P2, so it is very tight around this just over 80-second track. As a lot of guys starting the outlap, obviously. 2 minutes left to go in the session here in Tier 2 at Qatar. And it is looking good so far for Dark and Shadow with that half-second gap. And I don't even know if he has to even go out again. I don't know if Daniel Starr's got that half-second gap in him. But we'll wait and see as Swiss Lord's coming in. And that's going to be Swiss Lord starting from the back of the field. Unfortunately, because he won't have time to come back out. As we've got the 2 Alpines. Buster, I think, is just about to get a tow from his teammate. Oh, and he very nearly invalidated his lap time, so he got very lucky there. But as we watch Buster, can he find himself further up into maybe the top 5? Only goes P7, even with the tow, so has to stay where they are. So now I think Daniel Starr will start their final run as we hit a minute 15 left to go. Sam is staying in P14 for the time being. What about T8 starting their final run? And I think Lane Santa, so as we try and find who's going to be across the line first. Golf starting invalidated their out lap. Batman starting their final run, so...
A lot of cars, it's going to be very hectic.
Yeah, that's the thing. And obviously with the track evolution, you want to be the last person across the line. And that's what all the drivers are going to want to do. Hopefully no one's mistimed it and they actually don't hit the line before the checker flag does fall. As we've got Liquid Jake about to cross the line to start their final lap. As well as Callie will have time to do so as well, eBay boy. Around in the final corner, we've got 15 seconds left to go in the session. Battle Cat's on the lap, so that's going to be the letter P who makes it with 10 to go. Anthimon is done.
So Granny Gray's not going to make it round in time in the Ferrari. He was starting no higher than 8th, so he's not going to. Not made it round.
Daniel Starr, I think, did improve, but only barely as we hit the checkered flag. So Daniel Starr's going to stay in P2. Jenneth in the pits in P3. We got the Ferrari of Granny crossing the line. They're done.
So Lane next.
Yeah, so Lane Santa. P17 at the moment. Can they go P17? to P14, so 22.1. So not too bad. We got the McLaren of Batman. Can he improve? He's up slightly on his time. He goes into the top 9. The letter P, I think, is next. Now it's the Battle Cat. Battle Cat, 17th, goes to 15th position. The Red Bull of Matty jumps up onto the second row into P4. And we got not Liquid Jake. Medi goes into the top 8. So a little bit, I thought Medi would be a little bit higher up, but he's been beaten by Liquid Jake, who can improve to the front row, 21.4. Great drive there as we watch the Worms of Cali crossing the line, stays P11. eBay Boy now crosses the line, goes into the top 10, just out qualifying his teammate. And that is done and dusted because Daniel Starr had no battery when he started the lap. And that is your quality session done. And Darkness, I don't know, I don't think he went out for that final run, saving a set of softs.
Yeah, he saved the bits.
So great lap from Darkin, who is your pole sitter for our 28 laps around Qatar. Liquid Jake, great lap. Man, you pointed out, Luke, fantastic drive from him in P2, 410 soft. Ed of Daniel Stark, Jenneth as well, great lap from him in P4. Matty in P5, Letter P in P6, Buster in P7. Medi P8, Granny in P9, eBay Boy running out our top 10. Then we had Batman, Callie, T8, Elaine Santa, Battlecat, Sam, Ethimon, Almighty Gob, Swiss Lord, and Luke Fallow, who actually I believe he had a quali ban, so that's why he didn't participate in this session. So he'll be starting from the back regardless. But great race, great quali session we had, and yeah, that's going to be a very interesting race. And as I said, if with the pace Darkin had, if he just needs to get ahead at the start, and I have a feeling we might be seeing a little bit of a, I won't say domination, but yeah, as I said, if you've got 4/10 on everybody in quali, that's got to be quite a margin to try and catch back.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, he didn't do that second run, but it did mean that at least I think the top 13 were within a second of pole, which is a great, nice, close field, which we like to see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting what people start on. I can imagine it will mostly be hards and mediums. Maybe someone towards the back, maybe a Luke Fallow who had a quali ban, or a Battle Cat, or people towards the back may choose softs. And maybe someone in the top 5 might put on a set of softs to try and bolt early on, but the softs do not last very long here in the slightest. So I expect mostly mediums and hards from the drivers, at least to start the race, and then we'll see what will happen. Safety cars are not impossible, but a relative rarity purely because it is a track with a lot of runoff.
Yeah.
It mostly would be car-on-car contact. A crash between two cars will bring out a safety car. I doubt anyone will bin it by themselves unless it's on purpose. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategies are going to be in play today.
Yeah, to be fair, we did actually have a safety car laid on last night, so obviously not impossible, but yeah, obviously with the wall so far away, it can be a little bit hard as we just wait for the guys to obviously adjust their setups. And as I said, I think if you have to make an early stop, that pretty much automatically switches you to the 2-stop, as we do now have our 5 red lights. So round 8 at Qatar begins for Tier 2. We're underway, and it looks like an alright start from Liquid Jake. He does have the inside line, and down the inside we do have one of the Alfa Romeos as we go side by side. Darkin off the track a little bit, but trying to get the inside line through turn 2.
He's on, he's fun.
Oh, hopefully he hasn't got caught up. He's the only one that's off the track at the moment. I don't think he picked up any damage, so he'll have to fight his way through, as it was just contact, I believe, between Liquid Jake and Darkin trying to go down the inside. But Liquid Jake takes the lead. Daniel Start in P2, Matty in P3. We've got Medi and Buster fighting side by side at turn 6. So we'll wait and see what the movers are, but we'll have a look at everybody's tyres. Letter P's actually gone the soft tyre. He's gone aggressive. But I'm just going to stick on board with the top 2 because Daniel Star really hustling Liquid Jake for this race at race lead at the moment.
It really is. It's Toyota in the top. So Letter P, the only one on the softs he did take, you might have heard me, he was in the top 6 and he's gone for those soft tyres to try and get the early start, but that would lead me to believe he's going to go for a 2-stop, because even if he runs these tyres long, they're still going to be difficult to get softs hard to the line. Softs will be gone within 10 laps, and 20 laps on the hards is still going to be a big ask as Luke Fellow gets past Unit into the final corner. Unfortunately, for Dark and Shadow, didn't pick up damage. Swiss Lord did. He is in the pit lane, but at least we now have a battle on our hands. Dark and Shadow going to be climbing his way through the grid as Letter P gets past Matty into turn 1. Does he get the move done? He runs a little bit wide. Matty has the racing line, but Letter P has the grippier tyre, and Letter P. Oh, he does get it done. Matty there getting right up the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo Sauber car. So down to 4 for Matty, but he knows that give it a couple of laps and he will be on the superior tyre to Letter P, so it is not of concern right now. What will be of concern is Jennifer Lee and Medi. Medi on the hards, get Medi up the inside of Jennifer. That was a bit of a late decision there from the Aston Martin, but Jennifer keeps ahead on those medium tyres. Medi will be a sitting duck possibly at the start, but he will have the better tyre. He will be paying the price. He'll be paying the piper right now. By the end of this race, he'll be on preferred tyre. So Matty Ayew, his one goal right now is to get away from Medi while he can. Because if not, he will definitely be in the Aston Martin sights as we head into the second half of this race.
Yeah, and I think Matty, obviously, he put up a fight against the Letter P, but he didn't make it too difficult. So I think he realises the Letter P soft tyres. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how those softs do go. Obviously, only 2 laps in, and I have a feeling those tyres will be fairly dead by the time we even get to probably lap 7, lap 8. I have a feeling. But start of lap 3, Liquid Jake has a half-second lead over Daniel Star, who just picks up the fastest lap and will now start getting DRS down that start-finish straight. Letter P on those soft tyres will have to try and close up as we got Buster and Medi. Oh, there was a little bit of contact, and the Williams of Cali got caught up in that as well. I think had to take avoiding action, and he ran wide himself. So Buster and Medi fighting hard, and thankfully no car was turned around. Darkness down in P17 at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on his progress. But it's a bit hard, especially with the bit of a DRS train as well, trying to actually get a move done as a little from Cali on the inside of Rennie, nothing doing. As we will have a look at that said Red Bull Darkens in 17th. He's got the battle cap in front of him, and he's got to use these medium tyres. All the guys around him on the hards really got to start trying to make moves to try and get further up the field.
He does. The issue now is that as things stand, he's in a little bit of a train. Unit, as things stand, Buttercat will DRS on Unit. Unit will not have the DRS. And that's the issue with Qatar. With the one DRS straight, if the car head has DRS, there's no chance you're going to get through unless you have overwhelming straight line speed or a lot more ERS. So Shadow does need to hope that this train breaks up a little bit because Unit's now back in the DRS of Elaine. Buttercat is going to have DRS, so it's going to be a bit of a train for Dark and Shadow, but I'm sure he does have the pace. At the moment, as Daniel Star sets another fastest lap, and I think he may make the move to the lead. Jennifer Lee's got past Matty. Daniel Star's thinking about it on the inside of Jake. He takes as much curb as possible. They are so close on the exit. He does not quite get the move done. Daniel Star slots back into second place, but Jennifer is past Matty, and that is a concern for Matty because Jennifer is on the same tyre, so that could be a pace differential there for the Red Bull head to Jennifer, but we'll have to wait and see. It's only lap 4. I'm sure a lot of the drivers can still get into a rhythm at the moment, but he's still got Medi will be still available to see. But he ran very wide there through turn 5, so that might be a warning for the McLaren. As we said, it's got those warnings and those lasting kind of penalties for track limits, so that could be some factor in this race towards the end.
Yeah, Jake. Meanwhile, front, Jake really struggling on the in that first sector. He got a little bit more of a gap as Luke's got past Batman. Obviously, Luke, remember, from the back of the field, up 7 spots into the top 12 now. Yeah, Daniel Star's right on him, and there's a fair bit of an ARS difference as well. That Aston Martin pretty much should be flashing, and Daniel Star, he's going to be quite a bit closer than what he was last time around, so I have a feeling this will be a better chance for a move on Daniel Star. As he gets the toe, he'll get the DRS. He's got a bit of battery to play with, so Daniel Star crosses the line, I think, just ahead, and Daniel Star is your new race leader. 5 laps in, we'll see if Jake can stay with him. Letter P hasn't been able to get close on the top 3, and he's got to be careful because I think he's starting to lose time to Jenneth and Matty as well. As we got eBay Boy around the outside of Granny at turn 3.
Bit of wheel banging. Granny will have the racing line. Will eBay Boy back out of it? No, he keeps up his nose in the inside. Oh, the fries, they're keeping it pretty close. eBay Boy shuts the door. Granny stays in 9th. But I mean, that fighting has dropped even more after the arrest of many of the train ahead.
Yeah,
So that is a
yes,
big factor.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like you're fighting, and you just lose that much time, especially going side by side through the amount of corners that they actually did as well. So that really does hurt them. eBay boys just got back within DRS. I think that thankfully for them, the train is still up there, and Letter P's actually within Jenna's DRS as well. So I think those softs are starting to struggle now, as Jenna, who actually has some really good pace, and he's dragging Maddie and Buster along with them as well. So I don't think Maddie will be too unhappy about being dragged along with a bit of DRS. But at the front, this is going to be the first time Jake is behind crossing the start-finish line. About half a second, bit more around the final corner, and was nowhere near having a chance to do that as Jenna's going down the inside of the Letter P. Letter P will try and do a bit of a switchback, but can't. So Jenna's got great pace on those medium tyres, and that's up into P3.
Yeah, Letter P, as you said, I think your prediction was by lap 7 and by lap 6. Jennifer at least has the time advantage, yet Letter P will be struggling. He'll probably be on the pits possibly about lap 8 or 9, maybe for set of mediums if he wants to do a what do you call it? If he wants to do a very aggressive two-stop strategy.
Sorry, Luke goes down the inside of Semi. Semi trying to fight back. Oh, and off the grass, onto the sort of the tarmac. He's having a bit of an issue, so Luke, he's up into P11. Not sure if he might have picked up a warning there, but Sam down into P12 and got Batman right on his haunches and actually lets the McLaren through. So Sam really struggling, sort of all over the shop. He's letting cars through. Not sure if he's got a bit of an issue or whatnot, but he's really struggling. And there's contact between the Haas and the AlphaTauri. So Sam in the wall. So, and we have a safety car.
Ooh.
Darkened Shadow's actually got no front wing at all, so he's had a moment as well. Now, this is the thing, you will not get home from the end. Oh, as Sam's, that's a retirement on track, 100%.
Yeah,
so a little naughty from Sam. He's thought, yeah, we'll call this night and switch on to the last little bit of the real F1 qualifying in Japan. So obviously we won't sort of show what, or won't really tell what's going on there. But this is an awkward safety car because you are not getting home no matter what tyre you pit for now. So if you come into the box now, you're doing a two-stop.
Yeah, I think the one person that right now is probably chuckling with glee a little bit is the Letter P, because this is going to be getting him off those soft tyres probably a little earlier than he would have liked, but I'm sure he will not be complaining too badly about the fact he can get a free pit stop off those tyres. The hard runners, I am sure, will stay out.
Honestly, I think this actually helps the Letter P, because if we go too long, the guys may have tried to stretch it as Darken picks up a 3-second time penalty, but it's just that point where the two-stop's very variable now. So he'll come in the box, maybe either a set of mediums or a set of hards, depending on what balance they picked. But I reckon 2 mediums from here will easily get you home. So this has worked out all right for Letter P. As I said, we'll wait and see how many of the other guys come in. But as I said, you come in, you're doing pretty much a two-stop now, and everybody's coming in. So the Letter P will actually force everybody else to make a two-stop. So he's actually made ground on the softs, and he's actually going to be in net P4.
Yeah, Gray has stayed out the Carly, so all the hard runners will stay out because, I mean, they could do medium, but it won't be too great. It'll be, I assume, the fun will possibly go for a new set of the hards. Yeah, it is hards for Liquid Jake, hards for Daniel Star, hards for basically everyone who started the race on the mediums. But as I said, no way getting home 22 laps on the hard tyres, even if it's 20 once we account for a safety car. The tyre rate is so horrific. And the new tyre delta is so big here that if anyone on the mediums had stayed out, then they would have been easy playing. Liquid Jake has jumped Daniel Star in the pit lane. Liquid Jake has come out ahead of the Alpine.
Yeah,
so
certainly right.
Linked.
Yeah, and because the field was still relatively close, obviously the Alpine pit box got held, whereas the Aston didn't. So Liquid Jake's made that move back past. So Liquid Jake is your effective race leader on lap 8 of 29. Danielson P6 P6, let a P7, and that's a net P3 for him on starting line. So starting on those soft tyres, Jonathan P8, Matty P9, eBay Boy P10. As you can see, a lot of drivers going to that hard compounded tyre. So interesting to see that they're going to try and run those hards as long as they can. Looking at the hard tyres now, they're already on 20, close to 25% for the guys that haven't stayed out. So 25% on 7 laps. Times that by 3, that's 21 laps. So that's 21 laps, and that's 75%. So the hard runners are going to be in puncher territory if they decide to try and get to the end now.
It certainly will be. I think we're going to see a split here. Sorry, just taking a quick swig. I think we're going to see a split here between those who think they can make the hards run to the end and those that will call it a day and perhaps pit for certain meters later on. I think the soft tyres don't generally have enough life to be able to, if you pit lap 22 to pit for set of softs, I don't think they'd have enough life to get you the time back that you may have lost by pitting. So I think we'll probably see some people possibly in the pits for some mediums, maybe after only doing 10 laps on these hard tyres. But it will be interesting to see who will elect to keep running and who will elect to possibly do that second stop. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating race. It always was going to be here at Qatar with strategy, but this safety car has come at a perfect time just to add a little bit more intrigue into the mix.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of those guys that will be doing a two-stop is Mehdi. Obviously started on the hard compounded tyres, so they've elected to come in on to a set of mediums, so they can go to another set of the mediums. So watch Mehdi be quick, as well as Luke as well, so watch for them being on the medium tyres. As we see, the top 4 have stayed out. Both Williams have stayed out on the hard tyres. Battlecat stayed out on the hard tyres. Reddy stayed out on the medium, so that's obviously going to be the interesting call. Still possible to do the one stop, but I have a feeling Green's going to really struggle, especially off the restart, trying to get tyre temp with those more tyres. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have a quick look at your position change. Obviously, the top 4, quite a lot of positions. But the big mover at the moment, Luke, up 9, and technically he's got another 4 spots he can make. So he's up 13. He's up probably net 13 at the moment. Is Luke? He's done a fantastic job after serving his qualifying bids this afternoon.
Yeah, excellent job from Luke. He will have to pit again, but he will obviously have that time advantage in both stints, depending on who he's fighting. But Granny, I think, is going to try and offset the fact that, yes, he's going to be slow off the restart with the fact that he will have to do one trip through the pit lane. No way back in the field up. The safety car's not said it's coming in yet, so at least I've not seen the notification. I might have missed it. But yeah, I think it says is in this lap. I think Granny will be trying to offset the fact that he hasn't pitted with the fact that he'll have to go through one lap through the pit lane, and maybe able to use that as an undercut possibly against those on a tyre people that pitted now.
Yeah, and I'm just on board with Darkness. Obviously, sort of jinxed him at the start. I said if he got clear ahead, he could really romp away. But more to do with that spin on lap 1, and then obviously having no front wing would mean that safety car did get called. Back down in P18, already has a 3-second time penalty on the hard compounded tyres, so we'll try and make through. We'll have to wait and see, as we do have the green flag. So Granny will take us away. The top 4 haven't boxed, so they'll be a little bit slow off the restart. So Liquid Jake is going to be the one that will have to try and clear past these older tyre runners, as Granny's obviously making it as low as possible, maybe knowing he won't have the grip, but he's gone now. So Granny will lead us away, starting lap 10 and 29 here in Tier 2 Qatar. As we round... turn number 1.
Already up 1, and look at that, that's the grip. He's already going straight to the back of Battlecat. He's so much more grip on those hard tyres. He's already got a car between himself. There's the yellow flag, and Gob's gone already. Gob has gone and out.
Sorry, Elaine Santa as well. So second safety car, as you can see on your mini map on your bottom right hand side of the corner. So I reckon Gob and Santa have come together, both hit the wall. So we've lost 2 cars. We've got another safety car. This works great for Granny, because he'll save about 3 laps of tyre wear on the hard compounded tyre. Yeah, that's unlucky from Gob and unlucky from Santa. The hard runners can extend. Callie, Battlecat, and Ethimon can extend. But yeah, safety car, breed safety cars, and we saw that unfortunately towards the back. So unfortunate, but yeah, Jake, as we saw, passed 2 cars quite quickly. He had great pace on those new hards.
Yeah, he did. He got past Cat just before the safety car was called, so he got very lucky there to be able to get past the Alfa Romeo driver. Yeah, so Liquid Jake did an excellent job there, and it'll be interesting to see what this means now. I assume Granny's going to have to pit. Yeah, he does come in, as does JT Carley, and possibly Backhat is sticking it out. Everyone is in there, so double stack for the Williams team. But I think good for Jake. He'll catch the safety car first. Will be the race leader, and he has a car between himself and Daniel Stars in the. No, not Daniel. No, Stars not in the pits. Good. He's got a car for himself and Daniel Starr, so he can try and hopefully eke out a bit of an advantage early on in this safety car restart. As yeah, it's harder mediums for the different tyres, going from the hards. JT Carly on mediums, and I assume everyone, yes, will be to the mediums. So the 2 Williams on a T-stop. Granny may try and eke this out on those hards to the end.
Yeah, and obviously the double stop with the Williams obviously doesn't really matter because they're always going to be at the back of the field anyway. But interesting that the Battle Cat decided not to take that call as well. Obviously thinking the mediums won't make it to the end, and he still wants to try and be on that 1 stop, but he's going to get swallowed up. And when you've got a slower car around guys on fresh tyres, that can lead to incidents as well. So hopefully the drivers are just a little bit aware and not trying to do anything too stupid. But obviously everyone's made their pit stop except for the Battle Cat, so we'll have another look at the positions. So Luke is up 12. Again, it's going to be a stretch to try and get those mediums to the end. There's actually not, I don't think there's a lot of tyre wear between the mediums and the hards. I think both of them are just ordinary. I think the mediums drop off is just a little bit worse, but yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see who can manage their tyres. But if we keep having safety cars and virtual safety cars, obviously that helps the tyre wear quite a lot, and yeah, it's going to be interesting, but at least Liquid Jake now has a car in front of him, so Daniel Starr really needs to try and get this move done on this opening restart lap to try and keep within Liquid Jake's DRS for when he can potentially try and get a move done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this safety car is going to embolden those on the hards to possibly eke it out to do the 1 stop. It will certainly not be easy for them, and they'll still definitely have quite poor tyres by the end of the race, but it will embolden them to further the path of a 1 stop. Those medium runners, this probably isn't what they want. They want to use these mediums now while they're fresh to try and get the advantage on the hard runners, and this has probably come at the worst time for them. But again, they are be saving tyres, so they could possibly pit for set softs towards the end of the race, depending on how many sets they've got left. The safety car will continue for at least 1 more lap. So yeah, the hard runners are going to now be emboldened with the safety car. Medium runners probably ruining it a little bit, but not even halfway through this race yet, so a lot can still change.
Yeah, as I'm just checking the little data sheet that I've got. Obviously, the mediums and the hards are roughly about the same. Fastest lap at the moment goes to Daniel Starr on a 24.8, but that should be beaten with these fuel loads going down and the newer tyres. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Darkin actually moved up into P13 as well. So made a couple of moves, obviously, with a couple of guys in front of him retiring. Up into P13, down 12. So remember that Darkin Shadow was our pole sitter. So on the hard compounder tyres, so we'll try and get to the end from here. We'll wait and see. Obviously, these safety car laps really doing everybody a helping hand. Matty, championship leader, is ahead of P2 Medi, but he's behind P3 Daniel Starr. So Daniel Starr can really try and close into the top 2 in the championship. Medi, he's on an interesting strategy on those medium tyres. He's interested to see if he can get to the end, but he's got to just try and start making some moves to get past some of these guys up front. But with how close this field is and a bit of the DRS trade that we're seeing, he's going to have a tough task as the safety car is in at the end of this lap. So Liquid Jake will now lead us away for our second restart. Hopefully a little bit cleaner through turn 1 towards the back, hopefully. But we'll see what they do. Granny obviously try to leave it as late as possible, closer towards the line. Liquid Jake, when does he go? He knows he's got a wounded Battle Cat behind him on old tyres. You want to try and capitalise, leave Daniel Starr in the dust. And has now gone, I believe. And the Battle Cat didn't go with him. So as we head down to the start-finish line to start lap 13 to 29, Liquid Jake is your race leader ahead of the Battle Cat, who's the only driver yet to stop. As you got the letter P trying to make a move on Daniel Starr. Letter P, starting on those soft tyres, is really looking to try and capitalise on that early stint and try and pick up a podium, maybe even a win. As you can see, Battle Cat really struggling through turns 3 and 4. As on board with Daniel Starr. Surely this is a move down the inside. No, it's not. Daniel Starr held it as we got contact in the middle part of the lap. And I think that is Ethimon and eBay Boy and Luke as well. So 3-car pile up towards the back. I just want to keep an eye on this battle for P2. Because Daniel Starr has lost 2.5 seconds already. He has to send the move down. Still not. It's not even, but he's gonna burn all his battery to try and make sure that he clears. Battle Cat actually led his teammate through too. So great teamwork for Alfa Romeo. So Battle Cat will now try and hold up the guys behind. Remember, hasn't stopped yet. Will go onto a fresh medium tyre towards the end, so will be rapid. But probably needs a safety car to try and capitalise as Jenna down the inside. That was a late lunge, but gets the job done up into P4. And Matty will try and get the move done as well as we go side by side. But I think the Battle Cat has a little bit more straight line speed. Matty can't get past as we got another issue at the final corner. Luke and Swiss Lord now. Oh, and that got very close. Matty trying to round the outside. Still can't do anything. And Matty's now in this little battle pack as well. As Matty... Sorry, as the two behind, they're in the championship fight. They cannot afford to do anything stupid.
Matt's got to get past that. He has to get it done. Reddy's right there. Reddy will be very happy with this. Obviously, he's going to have to probably... Well, he is going to have to bid again. There's no complete about it. But if he can keep that up with the championship rival for the next few laps, that will certainly lessen the pain of his inevitable pit stop. He's now coming through this fast section. Battle Cat is a little mobile chicane. I think that turn 5 was, or turn 6 was the slowest corner on the track. It's actually the Battle Cat in that Alfa Romeo, and that is purely because he's on old tyres, not because he's a slow driver. Here comes Mehdi. Mehdi up the inside of Mathieu, and Mehdi has overtaken his championship rival. He's gonna. Oh, Battle Cat runs a little bit wide. He's struggling a lot on those old hard tyres, and these are 13 lap olds. You know, they're only double the age of the current driver's sets, and he's struggling a lot. So fresh tyres will be a massive benefit if people do elect to make that second pit stop later on in the race. Mehdi will, I'm sure, get the move done into the first corner. He's going to get it done before start-finish rate at the rate he's going. And that's unfortunate for Matty. He's lost out there.
Yeah, it certainly does. So Daniel Starr sets fast lap. The top 5 having to get past the Battle Cat sort of have spaced his top 5 out. As Battle Cat really getting hounded, he's going to get passed on the inside by one of the Alpines. Izzy no, he will hold the position. He does go narrow just to avoid contact. He's really struggling as we got Mehdi and Matty fighting. Matty gets the move past Mehdi. So these two, 1 and 2 in the championship. Mehdi on the quicker medium tyre, but they will die off quicker as Kelly picks up a 5-second time penalty, spending in pit lane, and there's a little bit of contact. That sends Mehdi wide, so now Buster trying to get a move done. It was around the outside, nothing doing. And as you can see, Battle Cat really struggling in the background. Dark and Shadow now up into P9, trying to make his way past the Alfa Romeo. So Battle Cat will be in for a medium set of tyres, but he wants to try and extend this hard stint as much as possible. Maybe even a safety car will really help his cause. But as we round turn 12, Darkness really can't get his way past. He'll try and probably look out the final corner as well. Jake out the front, 2-second lead. He's been able to hold that lead, has Jake. So we'll wait and see, but I have a feeling Matty will be in a little bit of trouble because Matty looks like he's carrying a little bit more downforce than Mehdi. Start, finish straight. Mehdi, that's an easy move. We're nearly 4 wide towards the back, so Mehdi takes P5. going side by side with T8 and Darkness. Oh, sorry, Dark and Shadow. Dark and Shadow, T8. Nice move for the Red Bull. So Darken's up into P8, T8 9th. Battlecat's dropped all the way to 12th, and he's now at the back of this train. That has not worked out for him.
It really hasn't. But as you see, he'll be pretty cool in the next lap or so for those mediums, and I'm sure they will feel like a breath of fresh air compared to those hard tyres that he's currently been on. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be very much looking forward to that when that pit stop comes. But out front, Daniel starts slowly eking in on Jake. That was over 2 seconds. It's now down to 1.8. But it's now the time drivers on those hard tyres are going to have to start thinking about the choice of do they pit for another set of tyres. Do they pit for mediums? Do they pit for softs? When are they going to pit? When will be the opportunity to hunt to pit? There's a bit of a... They've spaced out a little bit of a train behind Mehdi. So this field is spreading out, but probably not enough yet to make a driver comfortable with perhaps pitting yet. Obviously, it's still a little bit early to pit. Apart from Battlecat is sticking out again. So drivers will be thinking about it if they're currently on the hard tyres. And I'm sure Mehdi as well will be looking forward to his pit stop, because here comes Matty. Is Matty going to make the move? He's going to go to the outside. Doesn't quite have the overspeed to get the move done. Stays in 6th position probably for the next lap. But Liquid Jake, I said the gap was coming down. It's going straight back up again. So Liquid Jake putting up to now 2.5 seconds clear of the Alpine of Daniel Star.
And he actually found half a second actually. So whether Daniel Star maybe went a little bit wide somewhere, but yeah, Daniel Star doesn't have the right pace to actually catch up to Liquid Jake, and without DRS like he had in the start of the first stint, unable to sort of make inroads. So we'll see what he does. Obviously, it'll be a matter of who's managing their tyres better. I think without the safety car, the second safety car, I think with the second safety car, I think all these guys will try and get to the end. The extra 3 laps under at a reduced speed, I think they will try and hang on, and probably better. The field's not quite spread out as Luke picks up a 3-second time penalty, obviously being involved in that incident of the restart further back in the midfield. So really unfortunate, because he's doing quite well starting from the back of the field. But Matty is hanging on to Mehdi, and obviously those medium tyres sort of there. Actually, interesting note between these two as we watch them come down Start-Finish straight. They're actually on the same percentage. Mehdi's medium's 25%, Matty's medium's 25%. As he's going to go look down the inside, Mehdi gives him just enough room. He'll obviously have the inside line for 2. Matty won't really be able to do anything. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Depending on setup-wise as well, the difference in terms of tyre wear is not really anything different. Like it is close between all of the guys.
Yeah, it is, but I think they may be on the same tyre percentage, but the medium will probably be feeling slightly worse than the hards. Just because the medium will have that delta. So it's interesting that they are the same percentage, but I'm sure Mehdi will be feeling slightly more than his championship rival right now. But there's still 25% still 11 laps to go. So yeah, they could be about the 50% mark, probably over that due to the fact that they've done laps in the safety car. If it does remain green flag for the rest of this race, then it will probably be close to 60%, which is not quite puncture territory. So it can be done. I think you're right in that second safety car has enabled those hard tyres to probably get to the end, but they won't be feeling great. And those that come with medium will probably be very, very racy coming into the race.
Someone who is definitely racy is Shadows. Even when picks up a 3-second time penalty, right on Buster's rear end in that third sector. And will they try and make a move down the inside? They won't be able to, so they say in P8, but it's quite a feisty 4-way pack, and you've got Batman and Granny right there as well. So this pretty much allowed the top 4 to really get away. Janet in P4, about 3 seconds off the Leonard P. Leonard P starting to close in a little bit on Daniel Star as well, so Daniel Star just sort of, it's very close between the top 4. There's not a lot of time difference. All the lap times are within 4/10 of each other as well. So no one's really got a lot of pace compared to the other 3. So sort of this battle that we're really watching. And Mehdi, he's hung on, and Matty just trying to stay with him. So it's going to be interesting. And as I said, Dark and Shadow is going to be the one trying to clear this group. He feels like he's got pace, and we saw that qualifying. He just needs to. Remember, needs Darkness to just drop. Needs Buster to just drop off. Maybe not have DRS, and potentially could get a move done. But obviously, we're seeing a lot of drivers with the low ERS as well, so that really hurts these guys also. Oh, and that got close. There's contact. Thankfully, Buster doesn't spin, and Dark and
Well,
Shadow.
Batman.
Yeah, and hopefully Darkness didn't pick up Dark and Shadow didn't pick up any wing damage. Looks like he's got both his end plates. But that hurt as we got Battle Cat and Luke into the pit lane. So they will be on a fresh set of tyres. Oh, that got close between Batman trying to take advantage, but he's left himself runnable to Granny. Round the outside does the Ferrari grow. Can he hold the outside line? He most certainly can. So great drive, great job to capitalise on a battle in front, and he finds himself into P number 9 as we have 10 laps left remaining in Tier 2 Round 8 at Qatar. Here it is. Liquid Jake has a 2.2 second lead over Daniel Starr. Leonard P rounding out our podium at the moment, 1.7 seconds off Daniel Starr. So still plenty to happen, and as I said, it only takes one little tangle between this group of cars to maybe cause our third safety car of the night and really make things interesting.
Yeah, the interesting thing is Dark and Shadow has fallen off the back of Buster as things stand. If he's just about trying to take off that DRS, he's currently just over that second mark. Also to note, Granny is on the freshest tyres by 3 laps. As Darkened is pitting, Darkened is taking the gamble, goes with a fresh set of tyres, as is that sound following it? It is. Unit is pitting as well. So that's interesting. Shadow's on the hards, has pitted, and obviously Union's come in because he was on the mediums. So that is a fascinating call there from the Red Bull.
No, it's a front wing. I thought it was. He dropped off of the back of Buster. I figured it might have been a front wing change, and it most certainly is. So T8 will get the position due to not having the front wing on the fresh medium tyres. Dark and Shadow is on the soft tyre, so he's going to be really quick. You should be able to manage them to the end, but obviously that hurts them. Battle Cat coming down, and obviously that's how slow he was on the old hards. The guys who have made the extra pit stop has still beaten him out, so it's just not worked out for the Battle Cat currently in P15. At the moment, only one car not scoring in Swiss Lord, but we can always have another DNF at some point. So we'll watch T8 and Luke's pace, but T8 16 seconds off eBay Boy, so he should really close that gap, but I don't think 9 laps is really going to be enough for him to really capitalise unless these tyres really start dying off.
Yeah, no, but Unit has it'll probably be feeling like a different car under him at the moment compared to what he's used to. But yeah, I don't think he's already brought the gap down by 7 tenths on his outlap, so that is a sign of how good these tyres are. They're still warming up, and he's already nearly cleared a second compared to eBay Boy. But even a second lap will not be anywhere near. He needs to be putting in these guys at 2, maybe 3 seconds a lap. As Granny is passed by Batman. Batman doing very well on those old medium tyres up past the Ferrari. So good job from Batman, and good job from all the medium runners who are still holding on out there.
But believe it or not, Batman's tyres are about 4% less wear than the 2 hard runners in front of him. He's really conserving those tyres, and he's doing a really good job. He might actually be a little bit quicker than the 2 guys in front of him, actually. As Luke picks up the fastest lap, 23.3. So, got to be interesting to see if Darken can actually maybe beat that. So, obviously, about 3 seconds a lap quicker than the race leader at the moment on those brand new fresh tyres. So Liquid Jake was a 26.2 last lap, and Daniel Starr was a 26.3 the last lap.
So yeah, interesting times there. Unit has brought the gap down to 2 seconds now. Brought it down by another second to 13 seconds. He's flying, but he just will not have the time. As you said, unless he starts to hit a cliff. It's fascinating that the Batman. I'd love to know what Batman's setup is to have that level of tyre wear. I genuinely thought the hard runners would be leaving the medium runners in the dust at this point, but they're still remaining very competitive, and that is why I think Dark and Shadow pitted, because he sort of went, hell a minute, how are these mediums holding on?
Yeah.
But yeah,
As Matty still can't get past his championship rival. So looking at their tyre, where the mediums are now just starting to lose that little bit, become a little percentage where worse than Matty. I will point out, Jeneth, about 5 seconds, he's probably the one that's really managed his tyres quite well. He just hit 40%, where the guys around him are about 6, 7, 8% higher tyre wear. So he's doing a really good job, Jeneth, to manage. Just doesn't quite have the pace to the top three. Sort of needs those guys to really maybe have an issue. Daniel Starr, 3 seconds off. Letterpiece staying with him, so could potentially have a battle towards the end. We'll have to wait and see. Daniel Starr probably one of the worst in terms of tyre wear, so he's really cooking those hard tyres. So he's got to be a little bit careful when we hit the last couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen much of him or spoken much of him, but Liquid Jake currently sitting pretty in the lead of this race. Yeah, it's interesting that Mehdi, as things stand, Mehdi will gain points on Matty. Not many. It will not bring the gap between them down masses, but every point counts, especially as we head into the twilight time of this calendar. As I'm sure everyone knows by now, a revised calendar was brought out during or before the Easter break, so we have cut down. We've slimmed down. We've gone a little bit of a diet here at Inters. We only have those 6 rounds after this. We're going to Hungary next week. A very similar track, actually, to Qatar. Slightly different characteristics, but a very high downforce setup. But again, we'll be in position and possibly a chance of rain. Budapest, obviously no chance of rain here in Qatar, as Dark Shadow sets at 23 or 1. So excellent lap from him. And he uses it as well to get past Unit into 12th. So at least he'll get a few points to his name, but not the race I'm sure he would have wanted after his quali.
Yeah, so obviously just involved in multiple incidents, unfortunately, but gets P12, has fast lap at the moment, and 10 seconds off eBay Boy, who's 2 seconds off of Ethimon. So top 10 potentially could be there if those mediums hard really start dropping off once you start getting to that 60% range. So we'll obviously watch that. Medi's actually starting to catch Jeneth, actually. Gap down to 1.6 now. So Jeneth, he looks like he having the better tyre wear, but maybe just he's struggling a little bit more with it. And Mehdi nearly dropped Matty. So Matty really trying to burn his ERS to try and stick with his championship rival. But if Matty can get past Jeneth and pick up an extra couple of points, could be all worth it when we get to the end of the season. As we've got 5 racing laps left to go. Liquid Jake, I haven't seen much of him. He's perfected that second restart, and he had that 2-second gap as Batman gets past Buster. So Batman using that tyre conservation really well, and got past another car. Yellow flag, we've lost to Grenny. This may be the safety car. It certainly is. Everybody on the soft compound tyre. This is really going to change things up. We're only going to have a 2-lap sprint. So exactly the same that what happened last night. A late race safety car. Everybody will come in for a new set of soft tyres. You will not be able to stay out. So Liquid Jake, we just said Liquid Jake was really cruising, and unfortunately, he's gonna have to do another restart and keep this lead. This will put Daniel Starr right on the back. All drivers will go onto the soft compounded tyres. Daniel Starr, I can let you know, Daniel Starr had 58% on his hard tyres.
Wow,
so
that would have been tight.
It would have been enough to get him home, but he just would have struggled. And that hurts Mehdi as well, because he was closing in on Genis. So, looking at it, Mehdi's far enough away from Liquid Jake, so he won't have to double stack. I think all the drivers that are far enough away from any teammates that there will be no double stacking.
That should be clear. Yeah, no,
Alright, so you'd imagine Liquid Jake won't get held, because he's got no one there. So he comes in for the soft compounded tyres. Daniel Starr obviously on the soft, so everybody should be putting the red wall tyres on. It'd be interesting to see who's got a fresh set. Jeneth in. Mehdi coming into the pits now. Just going to keep an eye on it if anyone's got jumped. This Batman.
Oh, Mehdi's held. Massey's got past Mehdi.
Mehdi did get held.
Oh.
So Matty gets past Mehdi. So swing the way of Matty with the couple of points. So he wouldn't have got held by his teammate, so he must have got held out by maybe the Ferrari coming back out. And that's just giving him enough for Matty to just get that gap in front. So really unfortunate. So Batman in P7, Buster in P8. Battlecat stayed out on those 6-lap old soft tyres. So he's gained track position, but he's going to be in the same situation that he was last time. He's got to completely struggle with 30% worn tyres.
That is, I mean, if this was Monaco, I'd be saying not bad idea, Battlecat. This is not Monaco, and you can overtake here. So I think Battlecat is going to be a mobile chicane, and I'm sure the cars behind will be looking eagerly to get past ASAP. Otherwise, he will be held up. Swiss Lord is quite far behind the safety car, and he has not pitted, so he should catch up relatively quickly. But I think you're right. We have a 2-lap sprint. I don't think we're even going to see DRS come into effect for the rest of this race. Obviously, in real life, it's 1 lap after the safety car comes in. Here, of course, still on last year's game. Last year's was 2 laps, although it will be interesting next year, or on this year's game, to if we have a situation like this, to have DRS enabled perhaps for the last lap. I'm sure that will cause a lot of chaos, especially if we get to the tail end of a race and there's championships on the line. Safety car will be out this lap, coming in lap 27, so 28. Yeah, no, it will be the 2-lap sprint, as you said there, Scotty. So it's going to be interesting. Everyone will have full batteries, so it will be flat out to the end, no matter what.
Yeah, and as we can see the penalties on screen here, Bad Boy Darkness, Dark and Shadow, Luke, the only guys with the 3-second time penalty. A lot less penalties than what we saw last night. I was thinking that a lot more guys maybe picking up penalties, but these guys have done a really good job. Luke, if you don't mind, maybe just a cheeky check of maybe potential warnings for maybe our top 4 or 5. Because if you get a penalty now, that's really going to hurt you and throw you back down the grid. So obviously, be interested to see who's kept some warnings in hand to maybe just run a little bit wide to carry a bit of extra speed. So, at the moment, as we have a look, everyone's made at least 2 stops except for the Battlecat, who's made 1 and has stayed out. So, everybody up at least a position. Buster's lost 1, BO Boys down 1, Darkened down 11, T8 down 1. Our biggest movers up, Battlecat up 6, but I have a feeling he won't keep that, and then Entimon up 7, as well as Luke from the back of the field, who's still in a good spot. Obviously, all 15 drivers will score points with our point scoring system. So Swiss Lord, who was miles at the back, he got a late safety car. He's on the medium tyres, but he could gain a couple of positions if we see some carnage off this last restart.
Right, I've had a look at the race director, and I will not reveal who. Someone in the top 6 is on their final strike. 1 more warning, and it will be a 3 seconds slapped on them. So there is 1 person in the top 6 who cannot risk it in these last couple of laps. The rest of them are all relatively clear in terms of warnings. So it will be interesting who's going to be brave, who's going to take the risks, who's going to do what. Liquid Jake, pressure falls on him. The Aston Martin Vantage disappears into the sunset. The Aston Martin AMR 23 becomes the safety car. So we'll have to wait and see what he will do. He will probably go late, I think it was, who was it first restart? Granny, who went very late at that first safety car restart. He'll probably also go late. Does not want to give anyone behind even inkling of an advantage. There will be no DRS. It will be purely straight line speed. And he's gone early. I take that back. He's gone early. And Daniel Starr's gone with him. More or less, yeah, kind of. So it is him, and yeah, Jake knows he's already trying to break the toe as they head on to the penultimate lap. Liquid Jake will lead us. Daniel Starr is going to stay in second. Anyone going to make a move? I think, who's that shaking up? No, I think Medi's too far behind. Matty's been absolutely dumped at this start. Esimon didn't quite get Battlecat. Battlecat picks up 3 seconds as Dark and Shadows and eBay Boy are fighting. It's all kicking off down the field, but at the front it is business as usual.
Yeah, getting very tight. I'm just going to keep an eye on this backwards battle. Jake really got a lot of pace. He's nearly closed that 1 second gap already, or opened up a gap to 1 second already. So these guys at the back, we've had a moment, eBay Boy around, and not sure if T8 was involved as we got a lunge down the inside, Entimon on the Battlecat. And as I said, Battlecat was going to be the one that would really struggle with the tyre wear because they didn't come in and box. Meanwhile, I'm going to switch to Jenneth and the letter P because this is going to be the battle for the final podium spot. Jenneth really hurrying the Alfa Romeo in front. Oh, and camera angle changed from here in an awkward spot, but Jenneth's going to try and go around the outside, not really going to be able to do it there. So he backs out of it. But this is going to be a fantastic fight on the last lap. Swiss Lord now picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Medi's all over the back of Maddie. He has been for the entirety of this restart. He's all over the back of his championship rival. He needs to make this move. It may not change the championship positions, but every point will count. But he's gone wide out of that final corner. He's given Matty the advantage. The gap was 2 tenths up to 3. Liquid Jake sets first lap of the race on those soft tyres. Here comes Medi. He's in the slipstream. He's going to make a lunge on his Toyota rival. He thought about it. Matty keeps it to the braking zone, and you've got to think that will be it for the possibilities of overtaking. There are some other spots as Ethimon and Dark and Shadow fight as well. Battlecat stayed in 9th somehow on that restart. Everyone's been too busy fighting each other behind. Dark and Shadow and Ethimon are off the track into the gravel trap, and that will be them well out of the pecking order. But yeah, I think it's going to be as they were more or less, unless someone launches Battlecat. Luke's on the back of him, but he's not going to get it done into turn 6. No, he does not, but he's got so much more grip. He's going to try and go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. Can he get that move done? He's going to try and think about it. He'll have better grip. He does get it done. Luke fell up into 9th position, so good job from him. But yeah, Liquid Jake, I did stop the stream. I said, look, keep an eye on him. He's pretty quick, and he has definitely proven so this evening.
Yeah, as we have 1 sector left to go, Liquid Jake has a 8/10 of a lead, and that is going to be just enough. Jenneth currently in P4. He won't be close enough. Everybody flashing, everybody burn all their ARS. But as we come around the final corner, Liquid Jake had a fantastic fight with Daniel Starr early on in this race. But since about the second safety car, absolutely clear, and Liquid Jake will be your race winner here in round 8 at Qatar for IRL Tier 2. Daniel Starr finds himself on the podium. Letter P was only a 10th and a half ahead of Jenneth, but Letter P finds themselves on the podium. Jenneth just missing out, unfortunately. Matty and Medi very, very close, as you can see, half a 10th covering those two. And we knew that fight was going to be close. Batman, great job reserving for the McLaren in P7. Buster in P8. Luke from the back of the field goes into P9. Battlecat held on somehow for P10. And as we'll bring up the rest of the results after we load the podium. But yeah, great job from Luke, who does get the games driver of the day. So Luke, I'll get you to have a think about that. Who will give the driver of the day to? This man is in contention. Liquid Jake, fantastic race. Pretty much dominated the second half. As I said, he had a 3-second gap out in front. He was well clear without that last safety car, and drove an absolutely fantastic race. Daniel Starr, I don't think he'll be too unhappy. P2, but he's gained a few vital points on Matty and Medi, and that's going to be a very interesting table to look at once they get released. And the letter P as well. Shout out to him. P3, great battle with Jenneth in those final couple of laps. As we have a look at your official race results, as I said, top 3, Liquid Jake, Daniel Starr, letter P. Jenneth, Matty, Medi, Batman, Buster, Luke, and Battlecat, as I said, running out the top 10. Swiss Lord, Eve A-Boy, Dark and Shadow obviously had that issue with Ethimon, I believe, in P14. T8 did round out and finish, so we'll get the final point in this race. And then our 5 retirements, Granny, Callie, Almighty Gob, Elaine Santa, and we lost Sam early, unfortunately. So that's your results for everybody. I'll just make sure my little table is right. But Luke, how'd you find that race? It got interesting at times. Obviously, 3 safety cars, which we thought was... You don't really get safety cars around here, but obviously there was some carnage, or some issues at turn 1, we should say, so that brought out a fair few of them, but good race overall, and obviously Liquid Jake, very well deserved to stand on the top step.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great battles there throughout the field. Pretty clean from most of the drivers, I would say. Excellent drive from Liquid Jake, fantastic. Just from start to finish, really. As you said, he got past Shadow at the start and basically just left. think everyone who's finished deserves commendment. And yeah, fantastic race. Did a little bit in the middle, sort of the field sort of spread out a little bit, but still some fantastic storylines and championship rivals covered by less than a tenth, which is interesting as well. It is there's still 5 rounds to go. Obviously, the points gap, if they finish as they were, will be 19 points between Matty and Mehdi. But Liquid Jake's going to throw himself up the championship order there with that victory. It's a shame, really, we do have this shortened calendar now, because I would love to see if Liquid Jake could take the fight to the top 2 with his pace. But it would be interesting to see, I'm going to ring next week, who will come out on top.
Yeah, so we'll just get these guys to come in. Daniel Star unfortunately can't make it, due to he's got another dinner reservation somewhere else, and so unfortunately he won't be able to do it. So maybe just a quick word on Daniel Star before we get the other couple of guys in.
Quick word on Daniel Star. Oh, you finished second. Daniel Star did a great drive there to P2. Didn't have the pace of Liquid Jake, but he had the pace to keep ahead of P and those behind, so not bad at all. He is currently second in the Drivers' Championship, so I think, in fact, that will put him... Yeah, so Daniel Star will jump back ahead of Mehdi. He will take second place in the driver standings. Just going to double check the points system. He got P2, and it was... Yeah, so he will close in. He will bring the gap down between himself and Matty, who finished in P5. It is 8 points in his favour, and it will bring him, as I find the very quick mass, it will put him now within 14 points of his of Matty. So it is getting close to the top of the table. It's going to be very tight, I think, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, as I said, that just helps a little bit, and obviously only a few rounds left. So as we just get, I think we've just got Liquid Jake ready to hop in. Yeah, so that we can get him in. So while we're doing that, trying to get them in, we'll have a chat to our P3. Letter P, fantastic drive from you this afternoon. P3, great battle with Jenna towards the end as well. But yeah, just talk us through that race. Looked to be a fun one for you.
Well, it wasn't the qualifying because I invalidated on my last lap, but then I managed to get an amazing start because I started on the softs, and yeah, I think that if I didn't start on the softs, I don't think I would have done it. But anyway, hards were looking fine. Probably during halfway through the hards period is when I thought I was going to get this podium, and then the safety car came out. I was like, oh, what's going to happen here? But I did manage to keep it. And I'm so ecstatic.
Yeah, well, just talk us through what was your reasoning to start on the softs. We know how tough the tyres are. The tyres are around here. What was your decision and mindset doing that way?
I just really like the softs around here. I think I did like about 14 laps on them, practice session. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic race from you, Luke. Anything for our P3?
No, well done, letter P. Letter P gets P3. That could be a tongue twister there. Where are you at the moment? Okay, you're not really in the championship hunt. No offense. But good points there from the Alfa Romeo team for you. Well done on a fantastic drive.
Thank you.
So
right, we have Liquid Jake.
Yeah, so big points for May. Liquid Jake, fantastic race from you. P1 looked to be cruising home with that 3-second gap that you had, but obviously that late safety car. Were you really worried, or you knew because you had track position, Brad? You set a softs. You thought that victory was still yours.
No, I think Daniel Star was quicker than me when we were like at the start of the tire stints. I think he was quicker, but then kind of as it went on, I think I had better tire wear. Like my setup is just better for like a long stint race. So I was a bit worried when the safety car came out that he was going to get me, but then I realized there wasn't going to be DRS, so I didn't see how he would have been able to overtake me because I would have always had ERS to deploy, and I just had to not make any mistakes to win.
Yeah, no, just talk about that battle with Daniel Starr. Obviously, he looked quick at the start, maybe with a bit of DRS, but yeah, you had a good fight with him, and then obviously probably more so your your restarts. Obviously, we saw Gritty go super late. What was your decision to go before the final corner?
For the first one, I think Battle Cat was behind me and he's on used tires. So if I went early, I'd be able to take the corner a lot quicker than him, and then he would hold up the people behind him. So that was for that one. And then for the second one, I think I just wanted to get over and done with. And I thought maybe if I went soon enough, I could catch him by surprise. And I got a bit of a gap. I think it was like 4 or 5 tenths, which is enough to then not have to worry, because I'd say me and Daniel Starr were the same pace for most of the race, depending on the corner kind of thing. So as long as I had a 5/10 gap at the beginning, I was pretty certain that I'd be able to stay ahead.
Yeah, it was good. It was good decision. Obviously, when you went, Luke, anything for our race winner? Obviously, you sort of picked him early on. You said Liquid Jake was going to be a sneaky for the victory, and your call was perfectly right.
Yeah, thank you. I will take credit for that. I've raced with Jake for a little while now, so I know that he does have some decent speed. Jake, this win does move you, as things stand, to within 50 points of Matty in the championship lead. Is the championship any possibility in your head? Are you thinking about it, or are you just going to be going race to race and just trying your best to score the most points possible for Aston Martin?
I mean, I have to go race to race because you aim for a championship, and then you get, someone hits you one race and it frustrates you more, and then you start going worse. So it's better to just, I think, take it one race at a time. But 50 points is definitely doable. Like, if I can keep finishing at least like on the podium each week and not make mistakes. I'm not sure how many races we have left, but it kind of, I guess, depends also on how well Matty goes. Like, if he makes mistakes or can't make races even, then that will close the gap a bit.
Cool. Yeah, there is 5 races left after tonight. Going to the Hungaroring next week. How do you feel about that track?
I love Hungary. I love Qatar, Hungary, and I think we have Netherlands after that, maybe. Or coming up. Is that right? I'm not sure, but like, yeah, I love these tracks. They all feel similar to me, even though Hungary. What's that?
We don't have Netherlands. It's Spa.
Oh, damn.
Hungary.
Oh, Spa. I hate Spa. But yeah, Hungary I love. The tracks where it feels like it flows once you get it. Similar to Qatar. Then yeah, so I feel good at Hungary. I'm confident that I might even be able to get another win, if not another podium.
Well, that is good. Good to have that optimism. Well done, Jake. An excellent drive, and I get brownie points just for saying you're going to do well tonight anyway. So that's a win-win for both of us there. But yeah, excellent drive, well maintained, and very well deserved.
Thanks.
Yeah, great drive and another win for Aston Martin. As we can see on the stream there, obviously Budapest is next week for the Tier 2 guys, and then obviously Spa's sprint the week after, or the round after. So obviously fairly different track this one and next week compared to Spa the week after. So it should be a fun one, as well as it being a sprint. But Luke, that rounds us off for a great Qatar race. Obviously, we can see the provisional results on screen. And as I said, Liquid Jake, Daniel Starr, Letter P. They were your 3 best drivers on the night. And big congratulations to them for the podium. Luke, final thoughts before we end it?
Yeah, well done, Tier 2. A thoroughly entertaining race there from everyone who participated. Well done, as you said, to those top 3. All very well deserved. Unfortunate there. I think my heart goes out to Mehdi. He was doing great on that set of mediums, and then just got held up slightly in the pit lane, and has ultimately lost out to Matty. And of course, congratulations to Daniel Starr. He's propelled himself back into that championship hunt. If the provisional results stand, he would be just 14 points behind Matty with 5 to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would say if you are getting invested in this Tier 2 championship fight, which you should be, to be honest, follow us here on Inters Racing League. So you can follow all the action live over the next few rounds. Thank you, Scotty, for having me in the comms box. I know Mercy was supposed to be doing it tonight, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my return to the Inters comm box, and I look forward to seeing what Tier 2 can put on for Budapest next week.
Yeah, thank you very much for hopping in as a late call up, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the comms box shortly. But tomorrow night we have tier 1, the quick boys in. Luke, I think you're actually still driving that. How are you feeling?
I am.
How are you feeling? I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to be towards the back. How are you feeling for it?
Very contrasting fortunes in that regard, then, because I cannot wait in the slightest to get my. I love Qatar; it's one of my favourite tracks. It's just a shame that everyone else is so bloody quick. But yeah, looking forward to Qatar in Tier 1 tomorrow. Definitely feeling confident to try and get Haas some more points and trying to get us off the bottom of the joint constructors table. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, seeing what will happen tomorrow. It could definitely be a spicy one.
Yeah, and we've seen some good racing in the first 2 tiers, and tier 1 we'll know how quick those boys are, and can't wait. So I've been Scotty, he's been Luke. We'll catch you tomorrow afternoon from 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So just remember, daylight savings does end for the eastern states. So obviously adjust your timing there. So obviously we'll go racing straight after the real life Japanese Grand Prix. So obviously qualifying would have just ended. So I think you and me will probably be watching it back and finding out who got pole. But that should be a fantastic day of action. Real life F1 in Japan, and then Tier 1 at Qatar. So look forward to enjoying that and joining us for Inter's Tier 1 action. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you tomorrow afternoon.